Well, it's very popular here in Davos to talk about climate change, to talk about renewables, sustainability, but let's talk about oil and gas. And Majid Jafar is with us, CEO of Crescent Petroleum. Good to see you. $55 a barrel seems to be fairly steady at the moment. Is oil and gas back?
Well, we're double the oil price of last year, but we're still half what we were 2 years ago. That gives you some idea of the volatility. The problem over the last year is no one's been investing enough in the upstream. So
not just the last year, 3 years it's been
3 years in a row, which is unprecedented. And so there's a real risk a few years down the line of an oil price shock. And in fact, the World Economic Forum Global Risks, #2 on that list of risks of all the CEOs who were surveyed was energy shocks, not climate change.
So are you guys investing heavily?
We are still investing in the Middle East. Obviously, there are conflicts and there are risks, and our problems tend to be above the ground, not the cost of production. Governments that are late in payment, we've had issues in Kurdistan, we've had issues in Egypt. But overall, this year is the highest proportion of Middle East oil in world oil markets in 40 years, 35% and growing. We've still got half the world's oil and gas in our region. So it's going to be important growing, I think, for a long time to come.
Do you think that Donald Trump has taken oil and gas off the naughty step now by re-emphasising its importance to power the world?
I think the new administration is going to see energy diplomacy as part of the spectrum of international relations, much more so. Obviously, the Secretary of State coming likely from the industry. I think it's going to be an interesting part of the discussion with Russia and the Middle East. And the fact that you're seeing shale oil production starting to increase again, even at $55, means that we'll probably be in this range, 45, where OPEC will protect it, up to about 60 for some time to come.
Do you think OPEC got as much as they wanted out of this? I get a feeling they've fallen about $5 to $7 short of where they thought their deal would get them. I mean, Mr. Matsuri, of course, you're a UAE-based company. I think they were all looking for something with a 6 handle. Do you get the same impression?
I think there's some concern in the short term that maybe everyone isn't sticking with the quotas, and that's probably why it's a few dollars off where it should be. But the fact of the deal, and the fact that Russia was part of it or even brokered it for the first time since the end of the Cold War, that's huge, and I think it'll last for some time to come. And at this price level, the producers are all right, the consumers are all right, and it's actually spurring a lot of much-needed economic reform in the Middle East. And that's what the private sector from the Middle East is calling for here now. What we need to really enhance better investments in the Middle East from the private sector, because the government can't employ everybody anymore. Those days are gone.
Majid, we've got to leave it there. Nice to see you, sir. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Majid Jafar, who is the CEO of Crescent Petroleum. Just to say, coming up here in Davos, Vishal Sikka, the CEO of Infosys, will be coming up after this break. Plus, of course, we've got a market open to think about. We'll bring you all of this live on Squawk Box Europe, here from London and Davos.